Hey guys, welcome for the second show in the Michelin Studio Live, directly from the Sebring 12 Hours. Now, like I said in the first show, this is truly one of the legendary races on the World Motorsport calendar. So I thought I'll get together with one of the legendary drivers, Nick Tandy here. He is the pilot of the 911 Porsche you see behind me here. Nick was also called the next Derek Bell, and I first heard that and I thought, this is not looking good for my family inheritance.
Wasn't that you, Justin? You were the next Derek Bell.
Yeah, but it never happened. So Dad's prouder of him than me. Shannon McIntosh, she is one of our influencers here. I know Shannon very much as a proper race car driver. She's done ARCA, she's done sports cars. Right now, she's making her way through the social media world and is here definitely as a part of the scene with Michelin on site. And I thought it'd be really good to get you guys. First of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
This is just before qualifying, so Nick just came running out of a meeting, said I need 5 more minutes. Qualifying here.
Get dressed at some point as well.
Get dressed. Qualifying here at Sebring, how is that? I mean, it's just on the edge, isn't it?
Of course, you know, you're flat out. It's a short session, so we'll probably do about 4 or 5 laps total, which sounds like a lot, but it's a 15-minute session, and it's basically flat out from the word go. The quickest lap could be lap 1, it could be lap 5. We're not really sure when the tyres are going to come in. If the temperature comes up and the sun stays out, then you know, it could throw a curveball into the mix. But we look pretty good this morning, so we're hopeful.
Yeah. Well, of course, what they're talking about when they go out there, especially with the Michelins, is that they have 3 different compound choices. Construction's the same. Don't need to get too technical, because I'm certainly not the one to do that. But obviously, the temperature range as it moves around, Nick, you have to get it right. All the engineers from your team, from Porsche, working with Michelin engineers, put you in the framework, but in the end it's down, you've got to pull the trigger.
We're the ones that feel what's happening underneath us in the car, yeah, you're right. So, I mean, we can mix compounds, we can kind of front axle to rear axle depending on car balance and things like this, but you know, you've also got to think about your tyre allocation. We're only allowed so many sets of tyres for the weekend, so you don't want to burn out all your tyres that you want to use for the end of the race when it comes critical time in the race in practice and qualifying. So you might not see the outright pace of the cars in qualifying if somebody's using a bit of strategy for race day.
Yeah. So Shannon, when you stand here, and I know you love driving cars. By the way, she's just been taking on the other influencers over on the PS4S.
And I won.
Chat, you won?
Yeah.
All right, well, there you are. Yeah, I know when you come to track, for me, the boat has sailed a little. For you, maybe not. But when I see these cars and I meet guys like Nick, does it make you're like, I need, because you raced here.
So the last time I was at Sebring was 2012, and I was racing here in the USF 2000 series. So to come back and be a part of the event and to be here driving with Michelin is good, because anytime you're at a racetrack and you're not driving is a little difficult. So it's been an amazing weekend so far. It's really cool to be here and kind of experience it from a different light as a driver.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what goes on at night when usually I'd be sleeping, and see all the craziness that happens here and all the history.
Thanks for rubbing it in, Shannon, that it's frustrating to watch other people drive. It really is. Nick, describe it for the fans. A lap round here. Definitely go online. Watch when we're in the Fox Sports 1 broadcast and on FS2. You have amazing in-car cameras on these, and you'll see the hand movements inside the cockpit are like unrivaled anywhere else. The bumps here, everyone talks about it, Nick. It's crazy, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not just tough on the cars, it's on the drivers. It's tough on the cars because you know, we have power steering, but obviously when you're at a bumpy track and a heavy loaded place like this, the concrete has good grip, and the bumps mean you know, the front axle is under a lot of load, so the steering system goes through so much work. We have to increase the level of power assistance on the steering, things like this, and this is before you even get to the point of us having to hang on to the thing. Turn 1 is a great one. There's huge bumps in the middle. You're fully loaded at, you know, 2.5, 3G. Yeah, and it's blind, and it can get interesting sometimes. But this is the challenge of Sebring.
What about, you mentioned the night, and I urged all the influencers, all the guests here with Michelin to go out and get close, right up against the edge of the track, because you really can stand literally 20 feet from you guys going by at 180 miles an hour. Nighttime, coming down that back straight, the sun's in your eyes around that 6:30 mark, and that turn 17, well, that's like one of the most famous corners in American racing.
Yeah, and that's one of the other challenges. Is that the the day to night,
Yeah.
as the sun drops, you know, it's the track changes, the temperature changes, the vision changes. You've probably got a load of crap on the windscreen on the windshield by then. But that's endurance racing, and it's not just having a car that can cope. It's not just having tyres that can cope for long distances. It's all about the strategy of how you work when you're cleaning the windscreens, when you're dealing with putting different shades on the visor. You know, we normally run a strip on the visor, so you can kind of have it as a windshield. I don't know if you used to do that back in.
Yeah, not the old hand. Back racing.
Yeah. But it's all part of the fun of endurance racing and night to day or day to night stuff.
One of the biggest opportunities for everyone here this weekend is, and I'm sorry you're not here, guys, but on your behalf, Shannon is, and lots of others. And one of the things they're really trying to connect the dots on is, and Michelin pride themselves as a connector, is between the technology that goes on the race cars and the technology that you just drove on. And there's really nothing like feeling it between your own fingers to get the handle of it. You do a lot of development work on the race cars, but you also drive a lot of road-going Porsches. Michelin's, I mean, literally the road underneath you, isn't it?
It's everything. It's your contact patch. No matter what happens on the rest of the car, the only thing that connects you to the road is these 4 little black pieces. So yeah, of course, it's hugely important. And I've got Michelin's on my Porsche at home.
Well, as you
well
should.
As my race car, obviously.
Yeah, we got them on the race car. Have you got any question you'd like to ask him? Because when he's out there tomorrow night, you're gonna go, I wish I'd asked Nick that.
Well, I actually was just asking him, how's everything going? And, of course, there is a lot of strategy going on and going into qualifying. So how are you guys feeling, and what are your thoughts there?
It's really difficult to tell, actually, because this morning when the track temperature was cold and conditions were cold, we were quite competitive. The tyres were working really nicely to the way the chassis is working, but yesterday in the practice in the warmer conditions, we weren't quite so on top of things. So maybe, like you say, our cold temperature compound is quite competitive. Maybe we're not quite there on car setup when we put the hotter compound tyres on. But it's all about setting the car up at the end of the race. You win the race at the end, not in the middle 6 hours. So
do you like this race?
I love it.
Yes.
It's one that I've yet to win personally, so it's high on my checklist.
And representing, the bells, he needs to win it.
Absolutely.
I think I got second here. Before we leave you, obviously, it's a big weekend. What about the fans here? I mean, the fans at Sebring, there is nothing like the fans at Sebring. You have people dressed as cows, people dressed as monks, and they're definitely not religious.
Everybody with a beer in their hand.
Everybody with a beer in their hand. Fans here, it's pretty special, right?
It's probably the best event that we go to throughout the world. It's like a 5-day party, a bit like Le Mans, a bit like Nürburgring, but you really get some special characters here. But it makes the event, it makes it interesting. Sebring is not one of my favourite tracks, but it is one of my favourite events because of the atmosphere.
It's a happening for sure. Tonight you get to drive around the track. They actually have private driving. They can actually go out. They're going to get passenger rides in a couple of the GTLM cars. They're also going to get to drive the track. Any advice? Like, don't hit the wall?
Don't hit the wall.
Yeah.
But go as fast as possible, because the track, it repays you when you attack it. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
Well, I just found out about the ride-along, so I'm excited for that.
Oh, okay. Whoops. There was a secret that we didn't know. Well, listen, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Nick, thanks so much, mate. You have to go qualifying, he has to turn off the really nice Nick Tandy and get the angry Nick Tandy out. Shannon, don't do that for tonight's driving. Remember, we are going to be live throughout the weekend, and of course on all the Michelin USA social media and everyone's handles, you can follow us along. So thanks for watching. He's got to get driving. We've got to go for lunch.